Hello everyone, today I'm here to talk to you about this movie right here, Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. As you guys probably know, Miss Peregrine is one of my favorite series of all time. It's absolutely ingenious, for lack of a better word. I actually made a video review of the first book, but graphic novel version, as opposed to the actual one, because that's what I read at the time in, what, January? Oh man, my hair was so long in that video, I could like braid it. That said, I tried so hard to enjoy this movie because it is a new version of something I absolutely love. So I was really excited to see, first of all, a Tim Burton film who is known for his ability to make horror-esque kind of movies. I was very excited to see what he would do with it, and I don't know if I liked it. I'm not sure. Maybe by the end of this video I'll be able to figure it out. Fair warning that this entire video will contain spoilers for both the book and the movie. A little bit into the rest of the series, not a whole lot, but if you haven't read the first book, you probably don't want to hear spoilers for the second or third. So that's irrelevant. So if you have not yet read Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, or seen the movie, or one or the other, I don't know, I'm gonna spoil both, so leave if you feel like you need to, because I'm gonna spoil those things, and then we can discuss. Alright, first of all, let's talk about the trailer. I don't remember the first time I saw it all the way through, like I didn't really just sit down to watch it, I just kind of came across it, I think, when I was like watching TV at some point. But the fact is, right off the bat we knew it wasn't going to be perfect. We have Olive and Emma switching powers entirely, which is sure like they can physically have different powers, but Emma can produce fire with her hands, and that's such an Emma power to have. It seems like that was unnecessary. We didn't need them to switch powers, but at the same time, when I just watched the trailer alone, visually, Asa Butterfield, oh my gosh, what a guy. I saw him first in Hugo, and I was super impressed with his performance there. I'm sure I've seen him in other things, so that's the one that I remember most. The casting was so promising. So just by seeing the trailer, it seemed like that was going to be the only thing wrong. And I wasn't even really sure how that was going to affect the plot, because the two powers were still there, the two characters were still there. They just switched, so I didn't see how that was really going to make a huge difference. So just based on the trailer, I was totally prepared to love this movie. If that's the only thing wrong, I can deal with that. And as I said, the casting was just, they all looked the part. I did expect some of the kids to look a little bit younger. I mean, I know that they're like 70, 80, 90 years old, whatever. But I did expect like Olive to look about 6, and I expected Enoch to be maybe like 9, and Emma to be the oldest at like 13 or 14, but like they all looked like they were in their teens except for Claire, Fiona, and Bronwyn. And Bronwyn, you can't make her very old because she's the one with super strength. Not to mention the effects were extremely impressive, because we had like Miss Peregrine turning into a bird. She just like put her arms up and then just like, it reminded me of like Apparition and how they do that effect. I thought that was like really, really well done. The hollows were like the whole tentacle thing and how their faces looked, they were just perfect. They were a ton bigger than I imagined them. I imagined them to just be like human sized. And I also imagine their tentacles to be a lot like what Davy Jones looked like in the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. And I can't remember, I think there were like actual genuine pictures that Ransom Briggs included in his book. I adored what the movie did with them, even if it wasn't exactly what I was thinking. I can 100% accept how Tim Burton made them. When they were like throwing snowballs at them at one point so that they could see them, which was a great addition. I like that. Like, those effects were a little iffy, but like impressive all the same. Like, they definitely got the point across, they definitely got the job done. And the set was so beautiful. The house that they had was laid out just perfectly. They had like the scene around it, the whole island. The pub was done extremely well, exactly how I envisioned it. They had, oh my gosh, the set was just perfect. There's nothing they could have done better. Millard was everything. Everything about him as a character. The voice that he had was great. What this actor did with him was just... Let's also talk about Enoch's wandering accent. In the book he has a Cockney accent, but in the movie he started with a Cockney accent, definitely. Like, he totally had it the first 2 scenes that he was in, and after that he kind of turned Scottish. He was British for a little bit in his Scottish point. He turned Cockney again toward the end, and then ended in a Scottish way. I'm not familiar with this actor. I don't know what his actual nationality is, but consistency, guys, please. Something else about Enoch is that in the movie, he still had the power to like bring things to life if he got like the heart of a live animal, which they didn't specify it was a live animal. He was just pulling hearts out of nowhere. Thing is, he had them like fighting, and I was like, okay, yeah, that's a cool addition. I didn't think that was gonna come back. I thought it was just like a little extra thing that they wanted to include just to characterize him a little bit more, because like he just kind of had this like darker mindset all the time. The fact that he like bring things to life in like a zombie way, which is book Enoch, and he makes them fight to the death even though they were already dead to begin with. Like the fact he uses his power like that in the movie, I actually really love. Enoch and Olive having a relationship. Enoch and Olive are my two favorite characters, definitely. I love them so much because Enoch is like extremely passive-aggressive all the time. I don't know, what a guy. And Olive is just so sweet. In the movie, not so much, but in the book, she definitely is. I don't want to say I saw it coming because I did have the background of the book in my mind, so when they were on screen together the first time, I was like, you know, I feel like this is in another, if this wasn't Miss Peregrine, the two of them would fall in love at the end just because they're spending so much time together. I will say though, the difference is, even though I couldn't really see the two book characters getting together, these versions of the characters I love. Toward the end when, you know, Olive is like freezing over because she has fire power now, and I guess the Hollow had like some sort of ice power to counter it, and she's like about to die. She's laying on the ground and Enoch is like, oh no, and I just remember thinking, yep, here comes a true love's kiss. Sleeping Beauty, Snow White, anything in Once Upon a Time, this, here we go. They gave Enoch a more of a character arc, like Enoch with a heart AU, instead of just like being generally rude to everybody because he's got this whole dark mindset. I have a feeling we're not going to get a Hollow City movie, which is where Enoch kind of had a heart at one point, and Jacob even points it out in narration. He meets this little girl who's like really scared because they're hiding from the Hollows. So Enoch is like, hey, don't be scared, quick, here, I'll distract you. He doesn't say that, but he like holds up this little like doll that she has and says, hey, want to see this? I've got this little rat heart, look at this, and he brings it alive and it does like a couple flips or whatever, and like she's like, oh, that's so cool, and everybody's just staring at Enoch like, oh my gosh, who cares? Look at this is adorable. And then of course the Hollows come and attack them because he uses his power and they can sense that as opposed to the movie. That was the Enoch kind of showing he wasn't as heartless as he seemed in the books, and in the movie he's just like falling in love with Olive, which is totally different. The movie version of these characters, I love it. And now while I'm on the topic of relationships, Emma and Jacob, the one everybody's waiting for me to talk about. Do they have a ship name? Gemma, I'm pretty sure it's Gemma. Emma became so flat! As I said, her power of fire absolutely enveloped who she was as a person. Like, not necessarily rage, but she's very feisty. In the movie, she switched personalities with Miss Peregrine, because Miss Peregrine has this McGonagall kind of sass all the time, but that was Emma's 100%. Something we didn't include is that when Emma first met Jacob and said, oh my gosh, he's in disguise in the book, and oh, he's a Hollow, he's after us, he's gonna attack us, like we should not trust this person because he looks so much like Abe. We miss that. We miss all of that. In the movie, she's instantaneously ready to trust him. We don't even get information that eye contacts for Hollows exist. The first thing she accuses Jacob of in the book is like having fake eyes because, you know, the Hollows don't have eyes, they're just white. So when we don't get to hear her like threatening him with a knife, that's their first interaction. She just like holds a knife up to his throat and says, you're not fooling me. That's the kind of interaction we need. We don't need your stupid cliche of, hey, so like I can fly and like this isn't usually this used to be your grandfather's job who I was in love with, but since he's not here, I'll let you tie this around my waist and then like you can like get really close to a girl and then we're gonna fly up and I'm gonna rescue a baby animal and then you're gonna come down and we're just gonna stare at each other because you accidentally touched my hand once and you made her Hollywood love interest. Holding up a knife to your throat and accusing you of being an imposter of someone you used to love is the Emma I miss and Emma we needed, because I don't even need a because, you guys know why. And in the book, the first thing that makes her realize, oh my gosh, we can't trust this person, is Miss Peregrine is like, hold on, Emma, I know you don't trust him, like, and that you don't want me to bring him in, but I trust him enough to talk to him. So she brings him aside to his own room and says, I know your grandfather's dead, and you're welcome to stay. And then she hears Emma just run away, and she's like, really? You were eavesdropping? You can't follow any rules, Emma. Then she's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that Abe is dead. It's what makes them good together. It is. And it's something that was severely lacking in the movie. The fact that she just instantly trusts him is just downright unrealistic. And the fact that everyone does, like no one questions it, especially because the first time they all meet in the book is because he goes upstairs because he first thinks, okay, I want to explore more of this. I'm in an abandoned orphanage, so I can either go upstairs or I can go downstairs. And every horror movie tells me not to go downstairs, so I'm gonna go up. Jacob just accidentally drops, I don't even remember what, I think it was like a box or something, like through the floor, and was like, okay, now I have to go into the creepy basement. Another thing that did not come across well is the whole finding out his power thing, because I'm pretty sure, I mean it's been a while since I read the books, but I think like in that first dinner that they have where he says like, oh, I'm not peculiar, like I don't really know why I'm here. That's when they first say, well, you have to be. You're in a loop. Nobody else can get in. Somebody said, we kind of miss Abe because he could see the monsters. But in the movie, he doesn't even come up with that until a lot later. Nobody even brings it up until Emma, of course, says, oh yeah, the thing that killed, what's his name? Bronwyn's brother comes back now and then. Bronwyn's brother, whose name is escaping me right now, was irrelevant to the rest of the plot. He just kind of came alive one time to scare Jacob away. Then Miss Peregrine just like found him and just hugged him and then sent him back down and that was it. Why include him? Like, I mean, I would have been disappointed either way, but if you're gonna include him, make him important. But it definitely took Jacob like half the movie to realize that he was also peculiar and that nobody else could see the hollows. And even the twins had a lot bigger of a role in the movie than the book. Also, a thing that interested me is the fact that there was this scene in the movie where Jacob comes home to his whole extended family coming to wish him a happy 18th birthday. As soon as Jacob walks in, he like runs into these two twins who are just like, oh hi Jacob, and he's like, oh hey, yeah, thanks for coming. And then he goes like, oh hi, it's Susie or whatever, and then locks himself in his room, which, insane. Why did they include that? Are they trying to... it's such a tiny short scene, it's maybe 5 seconds long, but it just stood out to me because they had these peculiar twins as well. I don't know if that was supposed to be like a whole thing where they wanted the audience to wonder if this whole thing was a hallucination. Like, it just seemed like such an obscure extra thing to have. I don't know, it was just weird to me. I don't really know what to say about it other than like point out that it happened. Let's talk about this opening scene for a second, because it's when Jacob is about to find out that his grandfather is dead, and when it happens in the book, if I remember right, I'm pretty sure it's daylight out still, because he drives by this neighbor that's blind, and he just kind of, as a passing thought, says, oh, I didn't know he had a blind neighbor, but like, you know, he's just out enjoying the sun, alright. Glenn finds his grandfather is dead, and of course we all forget about it, but this blind neighbor comes back at the end, and it's like, you think I haven't been stalking you your whole life? Well, I'm that blind neighbor, I'm this person, I'm this person, I'm this person, and I'm your therapist. It's like, it's creepier that way, because as they're driving by, instead, it's the dead of night. It's like, probably 2 a.m. I don't even know who this person is that Jacob is driving with. Is it his boss? Like, I feel like it's very obscure that he's just like, his boss is driving him to his grandfather's house to make sure he's okay? What? And especially because she doesn't come back. We never see her again after that. She says, I'm gonna go get my gun in my car and we're gonna fight off whatever thing just killed your grandfather. Never see her again. We don't even know if... As we're driving by, Jacob looks out the window and just sees like a person looming over with these glowing, bright white eyes. First of all, if that really happened, would he just look out the window and just kind of go, oh no, I saw something. Like, why am I talking about realism? This is such a fantasy book. All I'm saying is Tim Burton took a lot of creative freedom with this thing, and Most of that, like, I could definitely accept because it is definitely his genre. It's definitely his kind of story to be able to manipulate and make his own. Despite that, there were a ton of YA cliches. I will say though, Horace's dreams being projected and the one that he has about like Emma and Jacob just like leaning in for a kiss and everybody just like is watching this projection and just looks at them and they're just like, And then Miss Peregrine's like, okay, no, we're done. We're not gonna watch the rest of this. That scene made up for a lot. I will say it was a bit hard to follow time in this new world, and I was a little bit worried that it was going to be hard to understand so quickly because it does take us like an entire book to fully comprehend how a loop works. In this version, it's so that Miss Peregrine has to reset the time every single day. In the book, it's just kind of, she like, I guess marked the time at some point, I don't know, it's not really specified how specifically she created it, and it just automatically loops back around. And they're all passing their time differently. I'm pretty sure it was Horace who's like wandering around trying to figure out exactly what every single person there is doing every single day. I don't know why I thought that would be in the movie, and in fact I didn't even think about that until right now that it doesn't exist. But when they leave the loop, in the movie at least, it was hard to tell if they were in the present or just on September 4th, because like Miss Peregrine wasn't there to switch back the clock. Time just kept going. They didn't say anything about it, and I truly didn't really get it because they just entered another loop, so it really didn't matter. I feel like they didn't stress enough how the Peculiars would age forward. I like how Jacob's original thought is like, oh, if you're out here too long, you'll die, you'll age forward, and you'll just die. In the book, they tell you they're like 80, so they probably wouldn't die. They'd just be kind of old. Maybe this is a picky thing, but Emma gave him an apple, not a flower, that he brings with him out of the loop and sees it crumble when he touches it because it's aged so fast. I don't know if that is a picky thing, but it says a lot about their relationship. Another thing, biggest difference between book Emma and movie Emma. Movie Emma wants Jacob to stay. She says, hey, we're all gonna move to this other loop, so come with us. We need your power, we need you to stay with us because we like you as a friend, and I like you as more than a friend. So, I would really like you to like come because I miss your grandfather, but I mean, you're basically the same as him. Book Emma says, you cannot fall in love with me because I'm an old woman. I don't look like one. I look like I'm your age, but I'm not. And it's weird that I dated your grandfather and now we're gonna date. You shouldn't be comfortable with that. I shouldn't be comfortable with that. I know that we are, but we shouldn't be, so I'm gonna cut this off. She's more mature that way. And so Book Emma is trying to push him away a little bit more so that he doesn't have to suffer or see her grow old. And she wants him to have his own life outside of this peculiar world. I don't know if I've ever stayed at one train of thought that long in my life. Like, I didn't know I could keep talking that long. What was that ending? What happened? First of all, they go back in time, I guess, to make a loop, or maybe they're not making a loop, maybe there's just already an existing loop where, you know, all the hollows are being created, which isn't even a thing. They're an entirely different species in the book, so it's not like they were created. Well, that's been too long since I've read these. The story in the movie of how the hollows are created is like this one mad scientist guy transferred some sort of mental energy to all of his followers and made them go hunt peculiars, and to go back into human form, they have to eat the peculiar's eyes. It's just like the 10 of them, like that's all the hollows that exist in the entire world. So the peculiars go back, and the hollows conveniently can't sense their powers in this version, so they can just walk right in and not be noticed. They go back and they just battle it out. Enoch's skeleton army is coming to help them kill these 4 hollow guests, and what a scene, what a scene. I mean, none of it happened in the book, but it was very entertaining to watch, just like as its own separate thing if we're not comparing. Like, What a scene. And once all that is over and Hollows never existed to begin with, instead of his dad calling him and saying, listen, I know you're on drugs, but it'll be okay. We can get you to talk to a new therapist if Dr. Golan isn't working for you. Which, of course Dr. Golan's not working. Anyway, instead of that phone call, we just get Abe's alive again. He's okay. Nothing ever happened, and Jacob's just like, hey look, I'm sorry I didn't believe your stories, but hey, guess what? I did all this, and like, I killed all of your enemies in the past, and like, now you don't even have to die, look at that. And Grandpa's like, oh, that's sweet, that's awesome. Good job, Jacob, I'm proud of you. Go to her, Jacob. She needs you. Do you get more cliche? I mean, do you? Do you? I mean, yeah, we left without a kiss, and I mean, I wasn't really shipping these two versions of characters, so I didn't really mind. Yeah, I spent so long trying to get to you, Emma. The closest loop was in the California desert, so I went through there, and then I found myself in Tokyo, where I joined the Navy, and then cuts him off with a kiss. Again, do you get more cliche? But still, what? I don't know, I'm not a fan of that ending, really. It was cute. I'll give him it was cute. The scene was cute. The relationship I didn't think really was. Yeah, this is definitely the first movie or book or video game or whatever that I have ever experienced where going back in time solved things and caused no problems in the future. Which, again, let's think about this. In the movie, we kill the Hologas before they even started existing. So now, Jacob's father doesn't have to die. Cool. And now, Jacob can go back to the loop without any fear of ever being attacked by anything because the Hollows never existed. How did Abe ever find out he was peculiar if his only power was seeing them? He wouldn't know there was anything to ever see. I just don't understand how nothing bad came out of that. And maybe it's just suspension of disbelief. Maybe I'm not supposed to think about it this hard, but Abe would not know he was peculiar because there's nothing for him to see anymore. Would that mean he isn't peculiar because there's no creature for him to be able to see to make him peculiar? Is he still peculiar, but there's literally no power that he can possibly discover? Right? I mean, maybe I am overthinking this, but I think the biggest problem is like that Abe didn't die because now, like, there's no reason for him to have ever met the Peculiars. I mean, I guess Abe did know about the Peculiars existing because in the movie, at least, he kept calling the Peculiar home to like say, hey, Miss Peregrine, just want to say hi to you guys, let you guys know I'm doing okay. And then one time Jacob picks up the phone and is like, yeah, okay, you're the best grandpa ever and I miss you and thanks for everything and hey, I found all your friends, like, isn't that cool? Jacob, he has no clue who you are. He says that. He says, oh, you must be new. I don't need to explain further. Jacob, why do you ruin everything? I was definitely waiting for a naming yourself after yourself kind of loop, like in Doctor Who, where he got this phone call while he was in the military from somebody who claimed to be his somebody who claimed to be his grandson. So, I was waiting for that. I mean, maybe it did happen, I don't know, but not mentioned. So because we killed all of our enemies, even though Jacob never got to find out that he could control them, but beside the point apparently, now that we've killed them all off, I take it there won't be any more movies. Although we have Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, we're never going to get Hollow City or Library of Eyes. Well, that's all I have to say. That's all I have to say for this video. Please leave a comment letting me know some of your favorite scenes, favorite things about the movie, anything you agree or disagree with. Let me know. I love reading your comments. Subscribe to see more things like this. I do upload once or twice a month. It's becoming more frequent because I find myself having more things to talk about lately. So, subscribe to be notified when I upload said things. And like if you liked. And that's all I have to say. So long.